Okay, so the concept that we're running today is you're moving. You are traveling cross country or you're on the highway and you're going and your car breaks down, there's an earthquake, there's something that requires you to leave your vehicle and take your bag with you. Some people call it a 72-hour bag, some people call it a bug-out bag, inch bags, whatever it is, it's your system that's going to allow you to get home or to a place of safety where you can move from that point. 72 hours is generally a pretty good rule of thumb, the amount of time that it's going to take you to get to a point where you can be there. We're running different concepts today. I spent 27 years in the military, recently retired, and I don't want to look military. I don't want to be threatening to anybody. I want to be just able to kind of blend in and not make anybody uncomfortable with coming through. So I'm specifically not using military gear. I'm running a civilian backpack, and just about all of my gear is civilian related. Like I said before, with the weapon system that I have, I can break it down and put it in my bag and use that to to hide. And when I get back out, I can take it back out and use that as well. If it isn't a difficult situation, a lot of people would think that you're going to have to fight your way from one point to the next. My concept is I do not want to engage with anybody. I'm carrying 22 caliber weapons, and for me, an engagement is the very last possible thing that I'm going to do. I just want to be able to skirt, get around them, move, and go fast. Speed will be my security and a non-threatening posture. If I have to, like I said, I've got 2 rounds in this that I can get off quickly. One's a 22, the other's a 410 or a 410 slug. And then if I needed, as shown earlier, and I'm in a situation where I'll transition to it, I'll take my pistol, 10 rounds in the magazine, and then another 10 rounds secured on the side of it. If I do have to engage, I've got enough where I can engage in a close range and hopefully get away from the people that are there. I want to keep things simple. My food is in Ziploc bags and very easy to get at. I have my first aid kit on one side, sleep system in the bottom, change of clothes on the inside, and I'll break that out for you. We're up in the woods today, and it's the start of deer hunting season. I've got an elk tag, and so I'm more chasing elk right now. But along the lines of the concept of being non-threatening, some things to consider. As I'm working through, I may have to get to a farm or someplace and may need to earn my keep, so to speak. So good pair of leather gloves so that I can work. Good strong canvas style pants. These come from Dickies. I like the color on them. They're good and durable. They're inexpensive and they last a long time. Leather gloves are an excellent thing to have because you're going to be working with fire, you're going to be chopping wood. You want to protect your hands. That's where you're going to get cuts. When you're doing a variety of things out there and you get those cuts, that's where you're going to get infections and bacteria and things like that. So just having that to protect. I carry lightweight gloves to go inside so that it can keep my hands warm. So if it's a cool morning, I can run a light glove. If it's cold, I'll run both of those. Layering is a key thing to do for you. One of the things that I like to do, like I said, is maintain a non-threatening posture. I might have to be out for a while. I run a couple different fleeces, and again, I'm kind of particular about the color that I'm going to choose. I can blend in the woods, but when I'm in the city, people look at it. North Face jacket, very common around the area, especially here with a lot of skiers and people. So people are expecting something like that. I like to take all of my clothes that I'm going to put in there and I wrap them up in a waterproof jacket. This one I think happens to be a Mountain Hardwear. Again, it's a nondescript color that in the city is non-threatening, but in the environment out here it will disappear relatively quickly. And I wrap it up and it keeps all of my stuff dry. Change of socks, silk so when I go to sleep at night or if it's getting cold, I have something to put on there. One thought that I put out is I take a collared shirt, a long sleeve shirt that I can put over my t-shirt. And you know, when you're wearing a collared shirt as opposed to just a t-shirt, people will look at you a little bit differently. They'll think that maybe, you know, you're a little bit better person or whatever, and they're less concerned about you. So you can do that. And then just having a spare pair of pants, you know, a different color Dickie pants. You know, if somebody was looking for me and they said he had tan pants on, well, now the pants are brown. You can change colors and work off of that. It's just an idea that I thought I had, is having a collared shirt that works out pretty well. And you don't have to spend a lot of money on these things. I went to the DI. You can go to the Salvation Army or whatever thrift store that you go to and pick up a shirt like this for $1.50 or whatever. And it's something that you really aren't that concerned about. So I've seen a lot of people buy pre-packed bags, and they never get out and try them. They never get out and use them. And they spend hundreds of dollars on them, and you can build your own bag relatively inexpensively. I actually learned from Andy to go to $1 and pick up a lot of meds and things. So when we go through bags, he's actually got the best medical bag of all of us here, mostly because he's got the most medical training. But I've taken a lot of what he had from his medical and incorporated it into my bag.
Okay, we're talking about different types of philosophy of what to carry, when to carry, that type of stuff. I'm currently in the military. I've been in for about 18 years. I'm in law enforcement as well. I have a lot of this stuff. I don't have to buy it new. That's a major thing for me, okay? And the other thing as well, in a bug out situation, sometimes you want to talk to people, sometimes you want to hide from people. It depends on the scenario. I realize every scenario is going to be different. If I like this stuff because it works well in the wilderness. This multicam is phenomenal. It's comfortable. I've spent a lot of time downrange with this stuff, essentially. And I like the way it wears. I like all the pockets. I like the access to stuff. It also works really well for camouflage when I'm out hunting animals or anything else like that. If I want to look a little less strange in public, I'd take this off, take these off, and put the original clothes that I left my house with back on. As far as my bag, I've got multicam there as well. We've already covered a little bit, but I chose a 12 gauge. And now the good thing about the 12 gauge is it's dual purpose. I can put slugs in it. I can take down deer. I can use those same slugs to defend myself. I can put double aught buck. I can put poppers. I can put birdshot. I have a lot of options. The only downside I really argue is that I don't have a huge amount of ammunition. So I supplement it with this little 22. I've got my 22 right here, little Buckmark 22. Okay. And I can shoot that all day long. It's very accurate. I can drop a squirrel out of a tree. Arguably, I could take a deer down if it's the correct shot placement. And I have two big boxes of ammunition in my bag that I have access to. My bag, I went with the Grey Ghost bag. A couple different reasons. This bag was designed by a friend of mine in Afghanistan to carry heavy equipment downrange for a long amount of time. So it's a very solid, stable, robust, well-built bag. It's got a sling position here on the side, so it'll carry my weapon on it. It's got a camelback pouch, and it's modular. If I want to add something, take something off, I just connect it to the molly gear. I've added you've seen earlier, I've added my my drop bag for all of the kindling. I've got a first aid kit on this side. I've got an Nalgene bottle, and then one thing that we talked about a little earlier, if we're up here for hunting and I do choose to be seen, I've got this big VF-17 panel. I can use that for a rescue. I can use that to flag people down, and I can choose when I'm seen. So I can hide with this equipment, or I can be seen with this equipment. And the last thing on these shoes. So these are mountaineering shoes. These are phenomenal shoes. I was a mountaineering guide in Alaska, and I love La Sportiva shoes. This exact model of shoes are what I used in Afghanistan. Basically what I did is I took alcohol, stripped it off, and then used black leather dye and blacked them up. These are brand new shoes for me. I haven't had a chance to do that. And sometimes in a bug out scenario, you just don't know what you've got access to. So I took it. I've got gaiters covering up the top portion of it. And they're very stable, very warm. I can go all winter long with these boots on if that was the case. As far as covering my body up. Inside the bag, I've got a poncho and a poncho liner. I can sleep in it. I can use it to protect myself from rain. I can use it as a shelter. There's like 8 different things that I can do with the poncho and a poncho liner. Andy's going to talk to us about a little more of a civilian approach on this.
I completely agree with Tyler as far as coming out here in the wilderness, because you blend in, you're hidden, you're well, and if you do run across anyone else, they're going to be of a like-minded scenario as far as the bug out goes. They're going to agree with this person, how they work, and you two are going to go your separate ways. As Paul stated earlier, sometimes you're going to have to interact with people, and you might have to be dealing with people in the city or small towns, and it's better to look less threatening, so to speak. I use just a standard civilian backpacking bag, but what I've done to get the best of both worlds is I took a tire cover from the Army, one of the DCU ones, and I've got it hidden in the bottom here, and I can stretch the tire cover around the whole back side of the bag, and I can blend in with the wilderness or blend in if I need to, and I also have camo in the bag as my extra clothes. It's just part of the philosophy. What scenario do you think you're most likely going to be in? Where do you think you're going to end up? What weapon system do you think you're going to need? Tyler's shotgun is awesome. I'm envious of it. But if I did have to engage someone, there's a quote, all hail the bullet storm. And when there's 25 rounds coming at you extremely fast, even if it is just out of a little 22, people have a tendency to not want to keep fighting you. As he stated with his buckmark, you can keep copious amounts of ammunition. I have 500 rounds in my bag, and it really doesn't weigh me down that much. I'm totally fine with wearing it. The biggest thing, though, is people have to build bags for themselves. I have a lot of medical equipment because I've had a lot of medical training. Another one of our guys is a mechanic, and he had screwdrivers and ratchets in there. And it didn't make sense to me at first, but it's stuff that he can use. So build your bag based on the skill set you have and what you can use to the best of your ability.
So this is a survival kit. This just one bag is something that I can throw in. It happens to be in my go bag, but this would be the small everything bag that I would want. I have taken some more of this this green wire and made some snares out of it. These are all pre-made. All I have to do is unfold it and set it up, and I'm good to go. I also, inside of this kit, have medicines and stuff. I got the caffeine pills. I have some Imodium to plug you up. I have some antidiarrheal in case you do. If you know you're only about 72 hours away, you don't want to be much more than that, and you drink something that messes you up, but you need to get out without becoming dehydrated and sick and dead. This antidiarrheal is really good to have. Now, if you find yourself in a long-term scenario, diarrhea happens to the body because it's trying to get rid of something that you shouldn't have had. So stopping the body from expelling that microorganism or that pollutant is a bad thing unless it's just for a temporary to get yourself out. So if you're there in a long-term situation, don't use any antidiarrheal or anything like that. There's the this is basically Benadryl. It's I don't ever say this right, diphenhydramine. Yeah, I slaughtered that. Anyway, so Benadryl will make you sleepy. Benadryl will also take care of your allergies. If you go into anaphylactic shock from a bee sting or something else, Benadryl will help save you. So that's what I've got in that little pouch right there. I've mixed, this one has, this is ibuprofen and Benadryl. And this is, let's see what this one is. There's Imodium, ibuprofen, and some more of that Benadryl. So I just split that up. Okay, also, it's good to have poo paper. That's very, very important. It's like up in the mountain gold. And it's also good for starting fires. I've got some Visine to clean your eyes out. In this top pouch, I've got 3 mechanisms for starting fire. One of them is the sunlight. So we look at this right here. I can compound this. Turn that around the right way. Focus down there. I'm already getting a nice solid beam. There we go. That right there is going to get nice and hot. You can start a fire with that. I've got a butane fire starter. Just hit that thing. Already burning. It's refillable. Water, not proof, water retardant. And then the ultimate backup here. This is magnesium. These are really cheap. You can get these at, like Walmart and cheap places. Scrape off a whole bunch of this magnesium. Use the striker to start it up. I've attached it to a larger version of the same thing. This larger version basically has that big old huge stick. Scrape that. You can see that throws out a big chunk of flame. Scrape on the side. And then in the back of this fire starter is it's a little package with some wet fuel, some wet kindling. So this would be my plan B, something that's gone wrong. I've got extra batteries for the GPS. This I actually got from Blade HQ. It's this really cool little arrowhead. You can either make yourself a bow, or you can make a spear that you're using to fish with. It's got a hole you can run some 550 cord through. I can just take the wood, strap it together like that. I can shoot it, or I can stab in the water at a fish if you see something close or slow moving that you need to hunt with. This little arrowhead, I mean, it's cheap. They're just only a couple bucks. It's super sharp. I just made some cardboard and duct tape and wrapped it up, dropped it in my thing here. That saved me from having to make an arrowhead. Again, my SE4, my Skinner, just stuck that on the back of my belt here. Okay, and then the final things we've got here are water purification tablets. It's good to have that because I can find something to put water in, but I got to be able to purify it. And then a signal mirror. And the way I make any signal mirror work is basically I got the sunlight, and then I look through the hole, pick my hand up, and flash down on the sunlight. I actually have to look this way where the sun's at. Okay, you can see my hand right there. So basically what I do is the sun hits the mirror and then it hits my hand. I can either stick my hand up like this, use that as my targeting, and then flash it, or I can look through it and see what it's hit on and then turn until I can flash the plane. It's good for shaving. It's nice to have a mirror. And I put it inside of a little Smith's case. I put a servat in here. Basically that's for first aid, like a sling. You can wear it as a head bandana to cool you off in the heat. There's a lot of different uses. You can burn it as kindling if you need it. A bunch of different things you can use for that. And the final pocket, I got a headlamp. The headlamp runs on the same batteries as the GPS. I've got white and red, and that's just instantaneous light. And then I've added to the top of it this little guy right here. So I can hang this on a tree and hang that down and just look at it, have it as a kit. These two I forgot I added. This is a ring system. Basically what you'll do to make a trap is I tie 550 cord and an engine to the other, or a trap engine, something that pulls on the trap. And I stick this little ring inside of that other little ring and just bend it over, and it holds itself. Once something pulls on it, it flicks loose and triggers. So that's basically a tripping mechanism for a trap. And that is my little kit.
I went with a little bit different option on mine. This is a M6 Scout. It's made by Springfield and CZ. I think it's an excellent survival weapon. It breaks on the barrel here, and then you have a takedown pin in the center. So